Hey guys, this is Matt NES. So it's been a little while, but I have a whole slew of stuff that I want to show you today. So why don't we take a look at my latest pickups? Let's check it out. Alright, to kick things off, we have a little bit of an amiibo bonanza, not as big as the one from last time, but thanks to my buddy Prez, founder of the Disrespected Club, which is the greatest community of gamers on Discord on the internet. That's just factual. I'm sorry, that's proven by science. Shout outs to you, Prez. But to start off with, I have both a copy of Toon Link and Chic. These were available during Smash's launch, and I just didn't end up getting these for whatever reason. They were super common, and then when Breath of the Wild came out, these guys became a lot harder to find. So I was thinking, I'll pick these up eventually. They're super common, but then they started to get super rare and expensive. But Prez, being the bro he is, gave me a really good price for these, and I'm extremely happy to have these. Oh, but that's not all from Prez. We have one more amiibo. We have Lucario. This one used to be a Toys R Us exclusive. Toys R Us was a store that I couldn't really get to super easily. With me not being able to drive because, again, I'm legally blind. Toys R Us was kind of inaccessible for me, and lining up outside of a Toys R Us at 6 a.m. was kind of out of the question for me. So I've not been able to get a chance to buy one of these for a while, but again, shoutouts to Prez for being a super bro for giving this to me at a fair price. So again, shoutouts to you, Prez. You're amazing. You're awesome. So enough with the toys. How about we get onto some games, huh? So first up, we have one lone PS4 game. We have SNK's Samurai Showdown. This is a game that I've been looking forward to for quite a while, and I really enjoy this game quite a bit. It has an art style very similar to Street Fighter 4 with the thick paint outlines and stuff like that, which works really well with the whole, Japanese theme with this whole game. I think it looks really, really good. I will say, though, this is not a game that I, came back to a bunch when I was first playing this. I found myself going back more to Mortal Kombat 11 a lot more, weirdly enough. I think I do want to get back to a little bit more of this game before I give my final judgment on it. But so far, the stuff that I've played with it so far, I really enjoyed it. Next up, we have a small stack of Switch games. This is one that I have been looking forward to for quite a while. Super Mario Maker 2. This is quite a game. This was definitely my favorite game on Wii U last generation. I don't even know if you'd want to call Switch and Wii U different generations. I'm not sure. But this game definitely adds a lot of features that people who are fans of Mario Maker have been wanting for the longest time, namely slopes. They added a bunch of new enemies, a bunch of new features, a new theme in the Super Mario 3D World theme. This game has a lot of new stuff. It also added in things like multiplayer co-op and multiplayer competitive stuff. As per the recording of this video, the online portion of this game, that being the co-op and multiplayer stuff, is a little weird and janky. You can't invite friends, and also it's very sluggish and jittery and stuff. They're saying a patch is coming for that, so I'm not too worried, but at least for the most part, this is Mario Maker, but with just a whole lot more features, and that's really all that I could ask for. This is a fantastic game. I put a bunch of hours into this already, and I'm sure I'm going to put a lot more. So if you guys don't know already, I am a huge fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, and I have been looking for something to scratch my Yu-Gi-Oh! Itch for the longest time, and I think I finally found something with this game right here. Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. This game is arguably kind of low budget with its presentation and stuff, and how its story mode and single player stuff is handled, but when it comes to just having a video game where you can play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, this game is really good at what it does. But yes, just like Mario Maker, I put a ton of time into this game so far, and I'm going to probably be playing this game until the end of the generation. And luckily I actually have a bunch of people who are super interested in playing this game with me, so yeah, this game's going to get a lot of time put into it from me. So here's a game that I never thought I would have in my collection. This is the physical edition of Katamari Damacy Rerolled. I am a huge fan of the Katamari Damacy series, but believe it or not, I've never played the first game before. I've played We Love Katamari and Katamari Forever for the PlayStation 3, but never the original one for whatever reason. And now they made an HD remake of the first game in this game right here. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet because there's just so many games. Just way too many games, you guys. But I will get to this one eventually, I promise. So here's another game that I never thought I would have in my collection. This is actually a gift that a close friend of mine gave to me, my friend Eli. This is Iconoclasts. This is a puzzle platformer Metroidvania. It's kind of a weird combination of genres, but it works really, really well. But yeah, the stipulation for my friend Eli picking this game up for me is that he wanted to see me play through the game, and honestly, that's a-okay by me, and I've been actually having a great time going through this game while he watches me. And it's a really interesting game, like a lot of really interesting characters in a weird kind of anti-religion storyline. I don't really know, but the gameplay's been really fun. Really interesting bosses. It's a little bit on the easy side, I would say, when it comes to some of the combat, but I still think it's been a good ride so far. But yeah, Iconoclast, good game. So next up I have a few retro games. Yes, I picked up some games from my local retro mom and pop game shop. First up are the incredibly cheap and fun to collect for Game Gear games. Super, super cheap right now. First up we have Sonic 2 for Game Gear. I never owned this particular Sonic game growing up. I had the first one, and I think I had Sonic Chaos 2 is one of the other Sonic Game Gear games. I've heard that this version is a little weird because of the screen crunch. I've heard that the Master System version's better, but, you know, hey, for literally $3, I think I can be okay with picking up this version. Next up, we have Land of Illusion on the Game Gear. I've never actually played any of the Illusion games. I've just been picking these up one by one because I've heard from gamers all over the world that all of the Illusion games, Castle of Illusion, World of Illusion, I guess in this case, Land of Illusion, are also, you know, they're fantastic Mickey Mouse platformers. And I'm wagered to believe them. Usually the internet's not wrong when it comes to, you know, quality games. Again, for $5, I thought, you know, it's a good investment. For the Game Gear games, we have the two Mortal Kombat Game Gear games, Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. I grew up with the second Mortal Kombat game on the Game Gear. I was unfortunately a Game Gear owner back in the day. You know, there aren't a lot of great quality games from the Game Gear, but, you know, I wanted to at least own the second game in the series because it's, you know, again, it's nostalgic. And I would say that these both are, you know, pretty solid portable versions of Mortal Kombat. I've heard horror stories about the Game Boy versions of these games, but I think a lot of people agree that for what they are, they're actually pretty entertaining. So yeah, I picked them up for $10 a piece, so, you know, not too bad. Next up, I am once again vindicated for deciding to keep all of my Genesis games cart only. Phantasy Star 3. I picked this up for $10. A classic JRPG series on the Genesis, a popular one, and it's $10. Like, I even asked the store owner, like, hey, you know, how much would this have cost if I had a complete in box? He's like, oh, at least double that. Probably more like triple. Like, you know, close to $30 or something if it was complete in box. So, again, I'll just say, Genesis games, they look great on the shelf. They're tiny, so you can fit 1,000,000 of them on one shelf, and they're way, way cheaper. This is why I collect Genesis loose cart. You know, so come at me, completionists. Or don't, I'm just joking. Next up, we have our one lone GameCube game. This is Resident Evil 0. This is one of the classic Resident Evil games that I never ended up playing back in the day. I've heard, you know, kind of mixed things about this particular one because there isn't the classic item box system where you can just put an item into a box and come back to it at any point and, you know, pick it up wherever there is an item box. But this one actually uses the Sweet Home rules where you can pick up an item and drop it off at any point, and wherever you drop that item off, you'd have to go backtrack and pick that item up. So I've played some Resident Evil games, and that sounds terrifying to me, honestly. That sounds more horrifying than like any of the zombies that are in this game, honestly. But I've heard that this game is still pretty decent. You know, you switch between two different characters, which is kind of an interesting gimmick for Resident Evil. I don't know, I personally like the whole, you play as one character throughout the entire adventure. It feels more lonely, it feels more, you know, you're on your own, you can't have anyone to back them up or whatever. That just feels more appropriate for the theming for me, but that's just me. But yeah, I picked this game up for fairly cheap, so I'm happy to have this in my collection. So I definitely saved the best for last when it comes to games this time around. I saw this sitting on the shelf, and it was affordable enough that I decided to get it. Xenogears. This is a game that I remember borrowing from a friend and never got too far into it. I think I was playing another JRPG at the time when I first borrowed this, so I guess I just, you know, let this fall to the wayside a little bit. I never picked it up for myself. I've been wanting to, like, re-experience this game for the first time again. It's been way too long because I can't actually remember what all happened during that first couple of hours. I remember there was a system where you could, like, chain punches and kicks together and do stuff. I've heard there's like mech fights later on in the game. That's all I really know about this game. And I've heard that this is definitely praised as one of the best JRPGs on the system, which those are some strong words to say. That's the same system that has Final Fantasy VII and Tactics and Final Fantasy IX and Chrono Cross and, you know, Saga Frontier and like a bunch of other like fantastic JRPGs on the system. So, you know, to say that this is still one of the best, like I'm excited to check this out for the first time. So yeah, and again, I did get this for, you know, a fairly good price. It was still a little bit of money to get, but it was just right at the cusp of it being affordable that I just decided to pull the trigger and get it. And honestly, I'm not regretting it. Or at least I'm not regretting it now, because, you know, I've heard this game's good, and I hope I enjoy it. I probably will, but we'll see. Oh, but we're not done yet, boys and girls. There's one more thing that I picked up. Just a small little thing. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Yes, I got myself the Nintendo Switch Lite, and I have had this sitting on my desk for the last 2 days, and I have been, you know, fighting back the urge to just rip this thing open and get going on this thing, but I wanted to get my first live reaction on camera for you guys, so let's open this up. So luckily, we do not need a knife. Pinky the Smith & Wesson knife can go on vacation, because I can just pull this nice little plastic this cardboard tab open and slide it right out. Ooh, I can already feel it. It's right on top. The main event. I'm gonna have to ignore it for now. Let's actually put that off to the side and see what else is in this box here before we do anything else. That's got to be saved for last. All right, mighty manly strength. Pull everything out. Rawr. Okay. First up, we have we have a adapter here. Nintendo has not been it's not had the best track record of adding an adapter with their portable systems. Shout out to the 3DS XL. But it's good to know that we have one here. It's weird because usually, like, from what I understand, this just uses USB Type-C to charge, but this looks like a proprietary thing. This is not a USB cable at all. It has the USB Type-C end right here, but it doesn't have the... Yeah, this isn't USB, so I'm wondering what all you would need to charge this thing with. It's not quite as big as the power brick that's on the dockable Nintendo Switch, but this is interesting, yeah. There's a bunch of, like, papers and, like, forms that are in the box, too, but I don't think you guys are interested in any of that. What I think you're interested in is this guy right here in this plastic, and I wanted to save this for last. And this is, oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, this... Oh, Meg, you guys, I'm just holding this system. This feels so much... I will say, right off the bat, the lower analog stick is still pretty low and in a weird position than the rest of the... Like, that was one of my big complaints with the handheld mode of the normal Nintendo Switch, where they were trying to, like, emulate the whole two-player thing, you know, so that the Joy-Con needed to be in that position, but, like, it still feels kind of weird, and, like, doing dual analog in some games is going to feel kind of awkward, because I have to bring my hand down here, or, like, do kind of a weird knuckle kind of situation when it comes to, like, using the... So I'm upset that they didn't fix the positioning of the analog stick here, but it's D-pad, though. Yeah, this D-pad right here was the reason why I bought this system in the first place. And it feels pretty darn good. It's a little small, but it works. A lot of people were saying that it feels better than the Pro D-pad, and I disagree. I still think it feels pretty good, though. It's got a nice pivot in the middle, so you can't push it down like a whole button. Like, it still has a good pivot. I have yet to turn this thing on. The vents are different, but not different enough to, like, you know, really make a big deal out of it. A lot of people I've seen other unboxings where the vent was a little different. It's got the cartridge slot right here. It still has that weird plastic thing at the top. I don't know if I like that, because it feels like, you know, the one on my Switch might break off eventually if I mess with it too much. The L and R buttons do feel a little... They feel like the normal Joy-Con L and R buttons. They're a little kind of weak still. But I still think that this is an overall improvement to just using handheld mode, just because of the D-pad. Like, oh my god, I'm so happy that this has a D-pad. Do I regret buying this? I don't think so. I think this is going to be a good addition to my collection. I do like the smaller form factor. I think this can actually fit into a normal size pocket. Yeah, I may do a follow-up thing to show you what I think further of the Nintendo Switch as I actually start playing it. But for now, I think that's it. So those were my latest pickups over the last couple months. If you liked what you saw, if you like these kind of videos, let me know down in the comments down below. And if you did, let me know what your favorite thing that I picked up was. And if you made it this far, I just want to remind y'all, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also hit the bell notification icon as well to be notified of future videos. And if you wanted to help out the channel even more, maybe leave a like, and also follow me on Twitter at the 8BitMadNES. But most of all, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'll catch you next time. Later.